So in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about our new kitchen composter that we got, this food cycler by Vitamix. We got the Eco 5 model. We got a half price deal on it because we were part of a research project in our county. And so we've been using it for about half a year now, and it's very interesting. I was really skeptical at first as to exactly how it would work, but it turns out to be quite straightforward. And we're going to sort of show you one full cycle here of taking scraps and turning them into compost, and sort of what that means in terms of what you get and what energy it takes and that sort of thing. And so let's start by taking a look at what you can actually put in it. And so you can put just about any scraps in this thing, from your standard vegetables, fruits, vegetables, eggshells, that sort of thing. But you can also put in things like chicken bones and things of that nature that normally would be hard to compost. And as you fill this up, you fill it up throughout the day or the week, and there is a cover that goes on this, and a charcoal filter, so you don't really get any stink in the house when you're letting this sit over the course of a day or whatnot. And as you fill this up, you get we're going to see that this turns into some really nice compost, and how it does it is kind of interesting. So we'll take a look at that. So as we sort of put in some coffee grounds here, and chicken bones, and all kinds of food scraps that you'd normally see coming out of the kitchen. So in this particular case, we've got about a kilogram and a half, 1,400 or so grams of stuff that is going in to this particular composter this day. And we got it set up on the floor here just so that we can actually monitor the energy output that it puts in. So you close the lid, and you basically just push the button and let her go. So what we're going to see here is a time lapse of this happening. There's not much to actually see during the whole time lapse. But what you can see is that we're going to show sort of a blow up of the power that it's using throughout the time, and we've sort of kicked on over time the actual power it's using, energy it's using. You can see here the indicator, the LED indicator on the front. As the cycle goes through, the number of blue bars increases until that's full. So we'll sort of show that, and you can kind of hear it humming in the background. We just put a little bit of that in there so you can hear it's fairly quiet. And what it's actually doing is it is grinding up the material inside, but not only grinding it up, but it is dehydrating it. So it's actually heating it up so that all the moisture comes out, and it gets ground into a little bit, basically turning into compost. Really, really nice compost. Now, I should tell you that typical cycles last about between 6 and 10 hours, depending on the moisture content of the stuff that you're putting in there. So one time we filled it up with watermelon, and it actually took most of the day to compost, and we barely got anything out of it because, of course, watermelon is mostly water, and so that was a little bit of a failed experiment. For things like that, you would compost that stuff, I think, probably normally in a regular composter. But for most food scraps that doesn't have a super high water content, this works really, really well. And you can see that the energy usage for this cycle took a little bit less than 10 hours for this cycle. And so it ran all day, and it took about 1.4 kilowatt hours of energy to create this compost. We ended up getting about a little bit around 400 grams of compost from the 1.4 kilograms of stuff we put in. And honestly, about 1.4 kilowatt hours, which costs about, for us, about 14 cents a kilowatt hour, including delivery. That means that if we were to produce a bag's worth that you might buy at the hardware store, bag's worth of compost, that's about $30 for a 6 kilogram bag. It would cost us about $3 in energy to produce that. So it is actually cost effective to produce things in this way, although it would take some time to come up with 6 kilograms. It takes, maybe a week or so of steady creation to do that. So you can actually see what we end up with at the end is this fine compost, and we just sort of collect that as we make it. And so that's sort of how the food composter works. This one is by Food Cycler. We're not by no means, promoting this as the best one. It's just the one that we got, So now you have a better idea of what this does and how it works.